Good morning, it's Wednesday, May 13th, and today we're going to continue our discussion on the subject of habits. And the prompt from the Daily Stoic is, which bad habits am I fueling? Now, it was Aristotle who said, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Now, I really like the second half of that line because of how he frames the thought with positivity. It's inspiring. I mean, who wouldn't want to chase excellence? Excellence in all that we do, from how we eat to how we sleep to how we work and train and interact with and serve others. You know, the way that he words it, there isn't shaming associated with bad habits. That's not effective motivation. Simply avoiding bad habits is not sustainable. You won't last. Our willpower is not that strong, and you don't want to live in fear. Fear of letting yourself down if and when you succumb to that bad habit. In fact, the author James Clear suggests that there are no good or bad habits, simply effective ones. And by effective, he means effective at solving problems, and he postulates that all behavior is driven by the desire to solve a problem. A habit is formed when it allows us to do this with as little energy as possible, eventually making the conscious unconscious. Therefore, all habits serve us in some fashion, even the bad ones, which is why we repeat them. So for today's exercise in the prompt, I'll categorize habits by how they serve me in the long run to assess whether they're good or bad. But I think it's helpful to begin the assessment by asking, does this behavior help me become the type of person I want to be? Is it supportive of my stated and desired identity? Remember, your habits are how you embody your identity, and the process of behavior change starts with awareness. So let's put this into action. Part of my desired identity is to be the best father possible to my children. That means constantly chasing excellence in this domain. That means constantly and consistently acting with love, patience, empathy, and perspective, providing direction and motivation, controlling my emotions, and setting an example for conflict resolution. So during this period of home quarantine, our family has spent nearly the entirety of 2 months with one another, and we've done it all within the relatively confined space of our home. And this arrangement serves as an incubator for a lot of unexpected feelings and behaviors. And as the days ticked by, I noticed that my patience with the kids was beginning to get dangerously thin. Even though my rational self could attribute their behavior changes to the new environment that they suddenly found themselves thrust into, my emotional side would often override that perspective, and I found myself quick to react, often leading me to raise my voice. Now, here's the scary thing. My behavior actually was becoming an effective habit, in the sense that it usually solved the problem. But at what expense? Damaging my relationship with my kids, causing fear or intimidation, inducing regret on my part, and not working towards the core of the issue. So by the end of March, at least I had reached the first step of behavioral change. I had generated that awareness. So enter April, and now I've added a line into my daily habit tracker to assess whether or not I raised my voice that day at the kids. If I didn't, then I got a check. If I did, then I got an X. And I was able to look for trends and see if I was making improvements. And at the end of 1 month, I was actually underwhelmed by my performance. And it wasn't the frequency that bothered me. That was actually better than I expected. But it was the unpredictability that I saw. I wasn't able to gauge when I would have an overreaction. But I realized that I had forgotten one critical piece. Epictetus says, every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions, walking by walking, running by running. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. Okay, that sounds simple enough. But then, therefore, if you don't want to do that, make a habit of something else instead. And I had forgotten the concept that James Clear describes as setting an implementation intention, or having a plan made beforehand about when and where to act. And he suggests that you follow the example of format of when X arises, I will perform response Y. So it wasn't enough simply to say that when I get frustrated and begin to lose my patience, I won't raise my voice. That's awareness, but that's not really action, not how you change the habit. It doesn't help, it doesn't equip me properly, and I don't actually have a solid plan in place. So after some discussion yesterday with a new friend, I think it's actually relatively simple. My new implementation intention follows: When I feel that frustration grow, I will take 2 full breaths before I speak again. And it doesn't have to even be obvious to anyone but me, but it allows for that conscious creation of space between stimulus and response. It replaces undesirable action X with desirable action Y, and it still checks that box of an effective habit of solving a problem, but now without the conflict of alignment towards my stated and desired identity. Anyways, hope that helps you think through your habits today, and have a great one. Bye.